Alright, so this job is another cleanup job. We have in the backyard a small path that the guy had started to clear, but it was just too much for him to do physically. So we have a bunch of piled up dirt and debris. I'm going to come through here and clean it up. I try and take some of these berms and bring them up over this hill. Try and deposit them and clean up this area a bit here to get everything laid back in here. This just drops off into a deep swale. So the goal will be to clean up this section over here, get rid of all of the excess, trim down some branches, and make it cleaned up so that he can plant some grass and have a path back here for the ATVs. And then continuing up over this way, we have some more built up berms. As well as a pile of brush and an old shed. So this old shed has a whole bunch of stuff in it. Not sure what it is, but basically I spoke with the homeowner and I'm gonna break down the shed and take those bags, put them up for him to take to waste disposal. So we're gonna take the rest of the shed that's broken down over here to this spot and compact it and lay it over here so that at a later point he can take pieces of it and burn it, or take pieces of it to disposal. But as you can see, coming from his garage, there's a nice ATV trail that goes back into the woods, so he's just trying to get some addition to that, as well as better access and clean up all the extra brush around the area and get it a bit more in line with his yard. Alright, so first thing that I'm going to do is come through with the chainsaw, I think, and clean up some excess branches and brush so that it's easier to move.
Rage on that beat, going crazy.
was going to try and keep that tree, but these vines are just so invasive that they've pretty much attached themselves to every tree, and that tree pretty much only had the branches I cut off alive, so figured I'd just cut it down and get it out of the way. Try and peel as much of these vines off as I can, but I don't have a pole saw, so I can only get so much with the forks and what I can reach. So I'll just push this tree back and clear out this area over here and probably pop the stump that was in there. I already got this one that was beside it and wasn't doing too good, so I hope none of this is poison ivy. Most of it's all this like has berries on it. None of it's three-leaved. It's all these single leaves, and it's not shiny. It doesn't have the look of poison ivy or sumac or oak, so I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that I didn't touch anything bad. Alright, so I just finished up scraping out things with the bucket, pushing it all into the respective areas. For this shed, we had talked about putting the remains over there, but honestly there was so much crap inside of this thing. I took out a bunch of bags that were just full of insulation, and then there was some other various trash in there, and it just disintegrates when you touch it pretty much. So there's so many nails and various pieces. I just don't have a grapple or an easy way to load this and move it. And plus he was talking about just burning it or probably taking it to waste disposal. So it doesn't really make sense to move it from here 10 feet over that way and then, you know, do something with it then. So I just broke it down in place, and it's pretty much in hand manageable pieces, except for maybe the roof. You could just take a Sawzall or even a sledgehammer and break it in half. So I'm just going to leave that as is, and now I'm going to put the rake on and rake everything up. Some of you may have caught this when I had the time lapse going, but the stupid pin holder here, I don't remember if this was original with the Kubota or, because these ones are, I think, the original ones. I believe this was from the quick coupler, and it doesn't actually match to this hole here. So it was sort of bent already, and I had put a screw and a nut on it, but I didn't use a stop nut, so this had popped off today at some time, I think, and this whole piece bent, so I had to hammer it back in. I don't have a nut with me, but sorry, I don't have a screw and a nut with me. I gotta fix this, either get it back in this hole, or on the other side where there's a bolt already. I have to, I'm probably just gonna put a couple big washers over here and keep it from falling out just in the meantime. I did have successful contact with Be Expanded, but it took 2 weeks because they were changing their contact system, and they said, yeah, we'll get you a replacement quick coupler, but it's going to be, you know, the regular 6-week lead time. So I don't think I'm going to have a quick coupler for this season, which sucks, but it is what it is. I'll just have to fix that up. So I was able to fully clean up this area, no problem. Scraped everything out and took down a couple of dead trees and bushes in here that were just all vined up. It was just such a mess. Even after taking the vines off, they weren't looking too good. I left the wood chips where they were. I wasn't sure if he wanted those moved or not, but I just took those dead trees along the back, pushed them back a bit more, fully raked out this area. Removed that last piece of the elm tree that was left just so it wasn't going to rot out and fall over. Fully removed all the berms on the side and raked up this whole path. All of the raking went into here and it filled it in pretty good. All the brush is down in the back. Same deal in the back here, took out all the brush and the berms, raked it all down. Again, I demoed the shed in place. Just too many pieces and nails, it's not worth spreading them. And then back here on the trail, I took a swipe or two at the first part of it where it was just overgrown. And then pushed all the extra material over here where his grass clippings were going. Alright, so this job is all done. Now I have to go quote some more.